It had been 2 years since Daniel Carter's world fell apart. 2 years since the sound of his wife's laughter disappeared from their little home, leaving only echoes of memories behind. Every morning began the same way. The soft buzz of the alarm clock, the smell of burnt toast from his daughter Emily's breakfast experiments, and the heavy silence that lingered in every corner. Life had become a quiet rhythm of survival. Wake up, pack lunches, drop Emily at school, work long hours at the construction firm, and collapse into bed, too tired to dream. He had stopped believing in love. Not out of bitterness, but out of exhaustion. Life had taken too much already. So, when his best friend Mark showed up one Friday evening, grinning like a fool and saying, "Come on, man. One blind date won't kill you," Daniel only laughed. He didn't have time for dates, let alone blind ones. But Mark was persistent. He owed him too many favors to say no. Daniel finally agreed, mostly to shut him up. He didn't expect anything. Maybe some awkward small talk, maybe a quick dinner, maybe even a polite excuse to leave early. He just didn't expect her. If you believe in kindness, healing, and second chances, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us share more heart-touching stories like this one. The restaurant was one of those elegant places where the lighting was soft and the scent of roses lingered in the air. Daniel felt underdressed in his worn gray shirt and the only blazer he owned. His rough hands and calloused palms looked out of place against the polished silverware. He almost turned around and left before even sitting down. Then he saw her. Across the room, a woman sat alone at a corner table, poised yet somehow lonely, like someone used to commanding rooms, but not hearts. She was dressed in a sleek black dress, her dark hair neatly pinned back, her expression calm but guarded. When she looked up and their eyes met, he froze. She smiled, the kind of smile that could disarm even the most wounded soul. "Daniel?" she asked softly. He nodded, still stunned. He had expected an ordinary evening, but the woman in front of him was anything but ordinary. He didn't know it yet, but he was sitting across from Claire Winters, the CEO of Winters Holdings, one of the city's most powerful business empires. At first, the dinner was awkward. Daniel stumbled over his words, feeling like every eye in the restaurant was watching him, judging him for not belonging there. But Claire didn't seem to care. She asked him questions, not about money or success, but about life, about Emily, about how he managed everything on his own. There was a warmth in her curiosity, a quiet respect that he hadn't felt in years. He told her about the night shifts, about helping Emily with homework even when he was dead tired, about missing his wife so deeply that some days he felt like he was living only half a life. And Claire listened, not just politely, truly listened. As dessert arrived, something in the air shifted. She told him her story, too. She had built her company from scratch after being betrayed by those she trusted most. She had no family, no children, only boardrooms and deadlines. Success had filled her schedule, but not her heart. It was strange how two people from such different worlds could find themselves connected by the same kind of loneliness. Over the next few weeks, they met again, sometimes for coffee, sometimes for a walk in the park. Daniel couldn't understand why she wanted to see him. He wasn't rich. He wasn't impressive. He was just him, a single dad trying to make it through the day. But Claire saw something else. She saw strength in his humility, courage in his simplicity. For the first time in years, she laughed freely. For the first time in years, he smiled without guilt. One evening, Daniel brought Emily along to a small cafe. He hadn't planned to. Babysitter canceled and he couldn't miss meeting Claire. He was nervous, worried Emily would say something embarrassing. But to his surprise, Claire and Emily connected instantly. Claire helped her build a tower out of sugar packets, then ordered an extra slice of chocolate cake just for the little princess. That night, Emily whispered as Daniel tucked her in, "Dad, I like her. She makes you smile." And for the first time in years, Daniel fell asleep with hope instead of sorrow. But hope has a way of being tested. A few days later, Daniel's company announced layoffs. The economy had taken a downturn, and he was one of the names on the list. Suddenly, the world came crashing down again. Rent was due, bills were piling up, and Emily's school trip was next week. He didn't want to tell Claire. She already lived in a world so far above his. Why burden her with his problems? But when she found out, she was hurt that he hadn't trusted her. She offered to help, to talk to people, to find him another job. Yet Daniel's pride wouldn't let him accept. "I don't want charity," he said quietly, though inside he was breaking. The distance between them grew. Days passed without messages. Nights felt colder. Daniel started working part-time jobs, construction by day, delivery shifts by night. He told Emily everything was fine, but she saw the truth in his tired eyes. Meanwhile, Claire was fighting her own battles. Her company was under pressure from investors who wanted her to make ruthless decisions. She was losing herself to the very world she had built. But no matter how chaotic her boardrooms became, she couldn't stop thinking about Daniel, about his hands, his honesty, his quiet dignity. Then one rainy evening, fate intervened. Claire's car broke down on a deserted road. Her phone had no signal and the city lights were far behind. She stepped out, rain soaking her hair, frustration bubbling inside. Then headlights appeared in the distance. An old pickup truck slowing down beside her. The window rolled down and she heard a familiar voice. "Need a hand?" It was Daniel, covered in dust, wearing his delivery jacket, exhausted but still smiling. She stared at him speechless. He fixed her car in the pouring rain, refusing to take a single penny. When she asked why, he just said, "Because that's what people do when they care." Something broke inside her then. The walls, the pride, the loneliness. A few weeks later, Claire showed up at the small park where Daniel often took Emily. She watched him push his daughter on the swings, laughing despite the shadows under his eyes. Then Emily spotted her and ran over. "Claire, you came." Daniel turned surprised. Claire smiled, walked toward him, and handed him a small envelope. Inside was a job offer, not from her company, but from a trusted partner firm she had personally recommended him to. He looked up, shaking his head. "Claire, I can't." "You can," she interrupted softly. "You once told me you didn't want help." "This isn't help, Daniel. It's faith. You gave me hope when I thought I'd lost it. Let me return the favor." His throat tightened. The world seemed to blur for a moment. And in that quiet park, surrounded by laughter and falling leaves, he realized something. Sometimes life gives you second chances, not in grand gestures, but in the people who refuse to give up on you. From that day on, things began to change. Daniel started his new job. He began smiling again. Claire visited often, sometimes to bring Emily a book, sometimes to share coffee with Daniel. Their bond grew not out of romance at first, but out of respect, out of shared pain and unspoken care. Months later, on a crisp winter evening, they stood outside Emily's school after her Christmas play. Snowflakes fell gently as Emily ran out, her face glowing. She hugged Claire tightly, whispering, "I told you my dad would smile again because of you." Claire's eyes filled with tears. She looked at Daniel, the man who had walked into her life by accident and somehow changed everything. Daniel reached for her hand, squeezing it gently. "You know," he said quietly, "that blind date. It wasn't a favor. It was a miracle I didn't know I needed." Claire smiled, her voice trembling. "And maybe, Daniel, it was mine, too." They stood there under the falling snow. Two souls once broken by life, now mended by something far greater than chance. Because sometimes the most unexpected meetings happen when your heart has forgotten how to hope. And sometimes a simple dinner with a stranger can rewrite the story you thought was over. If this story touched your heart, please don't forget to like, comment, and share it with someone who believes in love, kindness, and the beauty of second chances. Your support helps us bring more stories that remind the world love always finds a way. Sparkle special request. Before you go, drop a comment below and tell us, do you believe second chances can heal even the deepest wounds? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Red Heart.